As expected, we still do not know anything about Angel Reese. Kim Mulkey basically told everyone to mind their own effing business, which is fine. Kim says even if she knew that Reese was going to the Grand Cayman Islands, she would not tell us anyway because it is family and family stays in house. And so, in truth, nobody knows what is happening, but I want to look at this Angel Reese LSU Kim Mulkey situation from a different angle. Almost like a detective, I want to look at some of the interviews done by Kateri Poole and Gary Redus Jr. and sort of get a better idea of sort of the characters and situations that we are dealing with because I think it might give some insight. Anyway, if you like the content, then please consider subscribing and give the video a like. Okay, let's get into this. So first, it appears for some reason Angel Reese and Poole are in the doghouse. After the Colorado game, Mulkey came out and said she was disappointed in a few of the senior players and basically said that, she was proud of Samaya Smith and Michaela Williams, and that was about it. But she didn't really name names of who she was disappointed in. But evidently that was Poole and Reese if you look at the events that have transpired so far. Now, like I said, I looked at a few of the interviews done by Poole during the offseason, and one thing's apparent is she's pretty good friends with Reese. Like, Reese had some Poole when she was sort of, basically gave the thumbs up for LSU, if you like. So they sort of were essential in sort of recruiting each other. I'm not saying it was a 2-for-1 special or anything like that, but they knew each other a long time and sort of traded notes on things and both went there. And it's hard to know if they're factions on teams or what the factions are. But it's an interesting situation. You wonder, is this a faction type thing that it's interesting that both Poole and Reese are, essentially in the doghouse, and did they grumble after Mulkey called them out or something like that? That's what I wonder. In the interviews that Poole did, she was pretty revealing and said that when she first came to LSU, she admitted that it took her a little while to buy in to the program. Basically, she sort of almost admitted that she sort of came to LSU a bit with a batitude, I guess you would say, and she admits that sometimes she can be a little bit moody and just quiet and things like that. But she said she fought through that, and she gave Mulkey a lot of credit, just saying that Mulkey was up front with her, checking in on her, and they had her clashes during when she transferred there, but ultimately they worked it out and basically described Mulkey as being a straight shooter, and that's what she likes about it. Or more precisely about Kim Mulkey is that she tells you where she stands. And I think Poole, like her dad was a coach, and she says, it's interesting in one of the interviews, she talks about how coaches' daughters have a better insight, a higher IQ, if you like, into what coaches are looking and wanting from players. And that's another interesting thing about this thing is that I find it fascinating that Poole has been sitting on the bench the last 2 games, not playing, basically eating it in public, but Angel Reese has not been dressing and not showing up. So I don't know if this is a situation of, Poole knows she's in the doghouse and is willing to take her medicine and just eat it on the bench. And if Angel Reese is not willing to do that. And that leads to another question of, when Angel Reese comes back, is it going to be, cap in hand and basically having to say I'm wrong and then sort of do it on the bench for the next few games, sort of being called out for, paying your penance on the bench and being so everybody can see your wrong ways and you can pay your penance on the bench and eventually work your way back into the lineup. That would be interesting. And if that doesn't happen, then in a lot of ways it's sort of unfair for Poole, who's paid her penance on the bench with a few DMPs via coaches' decisions. So, but I guess it goes back to the old Jimmy Johnson line of, if you have a backup special teams guy and he falls asleep in a meeting, then you cut the guy to make an example to the rest of the team that we're not tolerating this. But if Emmitt Smith falls asleep, then you grab him a pillow. Now, truthfully, I mean, he backed off that a bit and basically said you sort of nudge him and let him know. And what he was trying to say is there's uh, stars get different levels of treatment. Obviously, I mean that's been since the beginning of time. Why the hell did T.O. last so long being the pain in the ass he was? Is because the guys scored touchdowns. Once they don't, then they're gone essentially. And, so I don't know if Reese, when she comes back, if she comes back, is going to have to pay a penance on the bench with DMPs or not. Now, the last insight I sort of took from one of these interviews regarding Poole was she talked about how, she had a lot of respect for Angel Reese's PR agent or agent as well. She mentioned Falage Johnson's mom, who basically does all of her marketing and sort of says she's a wizard and, just knows everything about it and everything. So is this issue between Falage and Angel Reese, is it really just over who's getting NIL and, somebody's bag's not getting filled enough and sort of, is it really a dance moms thing? Like I said, that it's the moms going at it because they're getting jealous of their daughters of who's getting the most marketing and NIL. I don't know. But like I said in the video I did the other day, at some point you think there would have to be some sort of non-apology come out or something like that from the Falage Johnson camp or from her mom just sort of saying, I regret, if I caused any harm or anything like that. But who knows on that. Now, in terms of the other interview that I looked at, I looked at the interview with Gary Reese Jr. So he did a few rounds or a few interviews after the championship. I think he's trying to get his name out there because he wants head coaching jobs. He's a hell of a recruiter. I did another video on him that frankly does not hold up well. I think all my predictions in that video were wrong. And I'm going to do another video to eat some S on that like I should. But he gave some interesting insights, not just on recruiting, but one was about Angel Reese and when she first got there. So it was his first season there. And he said they had their first scrimmage, like team scrimmage, after a few practices. And Reese just laid down the law of who the alpha on that team was. Like she dominated that scrimmage. He made it sound like that she just crushed everybody on the boards and set the tone early. And basically LSU just rolled on from there. Like they knew they had something when they saw her in that scrimmage. He made it almost sound like when Jimmy Butler went back to Minnesota to lay down the law and demand a trade. He just went back there to break the big cat and just say, yeah, I'm the man here. Everybody knows it. I'm not the highest paid and I should be. Trade my ass out of here. And sure enough, they did. So that's why you want Angel Reese back on the team. The other thing that he mentioned was Falage was a little bit like rough around the edges when she first got there. I don't know if she was just talking too much trash or whatever, but it sounds like she was pissing a lot of the sort of older players off by just being too much, and they sort of had to calm her down a little bit. And he's like, as the season progressed, she got a lot better with everything and, settled in quite nicely. So that's the other thing. I don't know if this is just an alpha issue where Falage Johnson sees her as the number one or something like that, and it's been an ongoing issue, or this is just a recently developing issue between them. But I found that interesting, him talking about how when she initially got there, they really had to sort of tell her to ease back a little bit. Now, the last one is that Redus spoke about was Kim Mulkey, and he gave some good insight on her. From what Redus says, Kim Mulkey is tough, and, she gives this whole Shucksville thing of, I don't do social media and I don't know anything about that, but she knows everything and keeps her eye on everything and is sharp as a tack, in my opinion. I think that's just all, like the whole outfit thing, like that's just to help recruiting. Like, somebody got in her ear and said, hey, make a name for yourself wearing clothes. It gets your brand out there. You do it. So she's like, okay, fine. I'll put on these clown outfits and that's fine by me. As well, the other night when she was talking about, I'm not going to do a COVID test or whatever the hell she said, I think she meant to say that just to gee up a bit of controversy on that and hopefully take a little bit of attention away from this Angel Reese issue. I don't think it was just a flippant comment. I think she knows exactly what the hell she's doing. And she's like the, smart like a fox, if they say. But one of the things Reese was saying was like, he was like, man, it gets spicy on the coaches group chat. And so he just first got in there, and I guess one of their transfers was having issues with grades. And he was like, Mulkey called him out on the coaches chat, just saying, this is your fault and this is why, and just laid down the law. And like Redus was like going to other coaches, man, what is going on with this? And like, don't worry, you'll get used to it. It's just the way she operates. She's upfront. She assesses the situation, makes her decisions, delegates, and she will hammer you hard if she thinks you are in the wrong. By the way, I'd love to know who the player was and if it was Angel Reese that was having issues with her transfer, but he didn't give that away, obviously. The other thing that he pointed out was like, before one of their final, when they were in the tournament, I can't remember, it was in the 16 or something like that. They were, in the practice facility, and Mulkey sent like a picture, text to all the coaches, right, with the time on the clock. The clock had not been reset and was off by an hour. And she just laid into the coaches. She's like, I don't only have to coach this team. We have an extensive coaching staff with 10 or how many ever assistants they have, and I'm having to reset this, damn clock. That was sort of the statement that she was making by sending that text through the coaches. And he's just like, she is down to the details, to the nut. If you miss anything, she will be across the details, like all these coaches are. They're type A. They know everything, and that's the thing that sticks out to me is, don't F with Mulkey. She knows what's going on. She will call out a player. It will be her way or the highway. Reese is going to have to figure out, and I imagine she will, because she hasn't done anything publicly against Kim Mulkey yet, and that's the death nail. If you watch my Brittany Griner video, that was the death nail mistake by Griner. Griner, after she left Baylor, went public to ESPN and laid down a story, and that was the end of it. After she did that, Brittany Griner was dead to Kim Mulkey, regardless. I mean, there's no fixing that rift. On the other hand, Alexis Morris, she kicked Morris off the team, had to do it, she said, but Morris didn't go after her publicly, and sure enough, she welcomed her back with open arms, and that was fine. And that's the line you can't cross with Kim Mulkey. And Angel Reese, who is a smart girl. I don't know what you want to say about your GPA. She is a clever girl. She's figured out NIL and crushing it. She has not crossed that line, and I think she understands the importance of not crossing it to keep her options open. Now, in my opinion, and it could be wrong, or my prediction is, I do not think Angel Reese is going to the Cayman Islands. I do not see that happening. I see sort of her coming back when they come back, letting things settle down, and then she'll be gradually reintegrated into the team and playing and everything like that. And she will have to come back cap in hand, and they'll say how they've had a giant talk and families fight and figure it out, and that's what we've done. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Then the alternate scenario is she goes to the Grand Cayman Islands, and they have a big team powwow and work it all out, and their family and the retreat did them good, and they figured things out, and we're back A-OK again. So I see one of those two things happening, but either way, I see Angel Reese having to come back cap in hand, maybe working her way gradually back into the starting lineup and things like that. And Mulkey would probably give a little bit of coverage and back down on that by saying, she needs to get back in game shape because she's been away for a week, and just gradually amping it up. And overall, I think this is going to be a storm in the teacup. I haven't looked at DraftKings lately, but if they're, I don't know if they've dropped off the face. Yep, I'm a degenerate. I just had to look. So I've just gone to DraftKings. UConn's playing plus 450, LSU plus 450, South Carolina's plus 600. Oh my God. South Carolina fans, you've got to be cranky. Get your money on it, South Carolina, because right now you're looking good. Anyway, What are your thoughts? Do you see Angel Reese coming back to the fold? Do you think she'll come back cap in hand and have to kiss the ring of Kim? Would love to hear your comments. Your poison as well. Sure, come after me, whatever. Any over the top comments will be removed. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Good night.